Hey, this is Malgai. I'm going a bit unscripted today because I wanted to actually go into more depth on my predictions and expectations for Pokemon Day 2025. As of recording, it is the 24th, so it is a Monday. For me, at least, Pokemon Day is going to be happening on a Thursday in the morning, so... Yeah, I mean, I feel like I haven't really... I feel like that one bingo card I posted on my community post didn't really portray everything I wanted to see at the Pokemon Present, so I figured I'd just make an unscripted video since that's what everyone else is doing at the moment. So, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do when I figure out where to put all this iron. Okay. I'm very organized, if you can tell. So, yeah, my basic thoughts. Let's just get all the basic stuff out of the way. I do expect all the mobile games. So, they're going to go through Cafe Remix. TCG Pocket is going to get a brand new pack. Masters, I feel like Masters, I know by that point that we're going to have a data mine. That's kind of obvious. The day of or a day before, we're going to have a data mine. Just seeing prior examples, because data mines usually happen 3 to 4 days before the month ends. And since February is ending on the 28th and Pokemon Day is on the 27th, it kind of just goes hand in hand that we're going to get a data mine before Pokemon Day. I'd say probably the night of Pokemon Masters Day, which is the 25th. That's just my personal prediction based on what I've known in the past, but, you know, DNA has been weird in the past, so, yeah, who really knows what's going on in that studio, but, yeah, but... Aside from that, yeah, mobile games, Cafe Remix, Unite, TCG Pocket already said that. Pokemon Sleep's gonna get a new event. Honestly, I dare say they're probably gonna get a Unova-based event. Just like how Pokemon Go, who's also gonna get news, is having a lot of Unova-based events. I do think we're gonna have very Unova-heavy everything, which is why I'm gonna make a prediction for the 5-year anniversary sync pairs for Pokemon Masters. And call me crazy, I think it's going to be a duo arc fair celebration between Champion Iris and Alder. And Iris is not going to have Haxorus, she's actually going to have an alt for her champion outfit instead of her base outfit. So she's going to be a first in that. Whereas all the other champions didn't have a champion alt, they're just the champions. So me personally, I think that's going to be what happened. Or that's going to be what happened. Iris is also going to have a second first time where she's going to be dark type instead of dragon, because normally you see these characters and like Leon is fire, Steven is steel, Lance is dragon, which is why I think Iris is going to be dark instead of dragon, because I doubt they're going to reuse types. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Cynthia is ground, she wasn't dragon. But her original sync pair was already ground, so that's kind of what the new thing's going to be. And of course, Alder is going to be bug. We already know that because Alder's kit is already kind of tailored towards the bug type anyway. And as for anything extra, I have zero clue on what else they could add. They could add Ortega for all I know. Like, I really want Ortega. I'd love to hear his theme, but yeah, I have no other guesses aside from a dual arc fair based on Unova sync pairs. And that actually brings me to another point. I don't think ZA is going to be the only thing we get news on. I think ZA is not going to be the last thing that we're going to get. I think Ilka-led Unova remakes are going to be a thing. And Unova, okay. Before I move on, I'm going to say, I've always speculated on how they're going to deal with the sequels, since, of course, you know, you had Ruby and Sapphire. They're just going to remake Ruby and Sapphire. They're going to remake Diamond and Pearl. They're never going to remake Platinum. They're never going to remake Emerald. Not even Crystal, even though they did put Crystal content in Heart Gold Soul Silver, and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee already kind of is a Pokemon Yellow remake in a sense, but I do think since XY is their first, like, jump to modern everything in both their sound design, 3D models, and all that, I do think that they are going to try and prolong that release by having 2 release cycles be like one is black and white and the other one is black 2, white 2 about a year or 2 later. Like where you would normally go from like Gen 3 to Gen 4, we would have Gen 5 to Gen 5, if that makes sense. So I think black and white remakes for the first games are going to be the last thing, but Ilka will lead 2 separate games for black and white and black 2 and white 2, but they're going to be a couple years apart, treated as separate remake releases. That's just my personal guess. But yeah, I mean, that's all the stuff that we're generally expecting. That's what I'm expecting anyway. The 2 big hitters are more ZA news, actual, like, 2025 is its release year, so we're gonna see footage. We're gonna have a trailer. That's just a given. We had a whole year, a skipped holiday season of, like, not getting a game or any sort of information on remakes. The only thing we knew was that we had a title drop, megas, and with the fact that we're in Lumio City. But that was really it. We saw no characters, no actual gameplay. And it's been like that for a whole year. So I do think we're going to get ZA news. That's pretty much just the obvious one, like the middle of the bingo card. But I do think with all the Unova branding that's been happening recently, I do think we're going to get Unova remakes. And that's how I feel like they're going to handle the sequels. They're going to make sequels its own, like, separate release cycle release. But moving away from the stuff that we expect, the stuff that we don't expect, I don't expect any NSO, personally. I think they're just not going to go as hard on NSO for Switch 2. Like, okay, that's a lie. They very well could go hard on the NSO, but I do feel like the Switch 2, they're gonna either ramp up the releases for NSO, like Nintendo, or they're just gonna get rid of NSO entirely. Like, just leave it as an option for you to play, but have Virtual Console back. I do genuinely think that Virtual Console is going to have some presence on the Switch 2, so that's why I don't think we're gonna get NSO red, blue, yellow, gold, silver, crystal, ruby, sapphire, emerald type games. So I'm not expecting that. Being reasonable, I'm not expecting that. But for another unusual expectation, I do think we're gonna get a spin-off of some sort. And I know that's what everyone's hoping. Oh, a new mystery dungeon, or me personally, I'm always on the copium of a new Ranger game. I mean, okay. As much as I love a Ranger game, and I'm always open to the opportunity, I am the guy who copes about Tamagotchi Life for every Nintendo Direct, for Pete's sake. With the rumors and potential patents for a second screen attachment for Switch 2, I feel like that's when Ranger is probably going to pop up. Because the whole thing with Ranger is that you kind of need 2 screens for it to work. And if you can have a way to get 2 screens working in a handheld, like a DS, then I do think Ranger and any sort of subsequent game that requires 2 screens, I feel like that is going to become way more relevant on the Switch 2. So, as much as I hate to admit it, we're not going to get Ranger news, but I do think we are going to get some sort of spin-off, whether that be a new mobile game or just a flat-out spin-off game, like whether it's a remake or something, just new spin-off content. I do think we're going to get that. People have been speculating on Pokemon Synapse, which I've seen multiple things, a battle simulator that can keep up with the regions for you to practice and build teams for actual PvP for, like, VGC. And I know people have been saying, like, oh, they're going to make an Overwatch, or not Overwatch, like an Overwatch Marvel Rivals type Pokemon game, kind of like how they made a MOBA for Unite. And I think that'd be really cool, but I don't think it's going to happen. Because if you think about it, TCG Pocket was released and is now getting a lot of people into the card game, albeit a much more simplified version of the card game, but slowly but surely, it is becoming a thing. That they're trying to get people into these sorts of avenues of the game. Like, growing up as a kid, let's be honest, you collected Pokemon cards, never knew how to play the game, you just like the look of the cards. That part's obvious. But I do think I do think that, especially with VGC becoming way more relevant recently, like, if you were to look back at 2012, yeah, VGC was there, but it wasn't a large avenue. Now it's practically a whole sport event. So many people are invested, so many new players and veteran players are playing this. Like, it cannot be ignored that VGC is becoming way more relevant. So I do think just to make things easier, like Pokemon does know about the whole thing about if you want Urshifu, gotta pay $40 plus the 60, or no, gotta pay for the DLC plus the $60 for the base game. If you want Calyrex Ice or Calyrex Shadow, you gotta pay for the DLC. Well, you know, buying the base game is very expensive to get into this sort of thing, which is why a lot of people have been dissuaded. But I do genuinely think, just for the sake of maybe tournaments and also just general team building and theory crafting, I do think that we are going to get some sort of battle simulator. Because obviously it is within the radar, like with TCG Pocket, that they want to add some form of like doorway for new players to go experience these things. Like TCG Pocket, you get to collect cards and open packs without actually having to spend money. You can if you want, but genuinely, like 2 packs a day is a great amount of value for how much you actually can earn. So, I do think they are going to have something along the lines of a battle simulator, and that's the reasoning why. They recognize that VGC is becoming so relevant that they're going to give more young blood opportunity to try and like play against other players and test things out without it being locked to the current generation of mainline games. And I personally think that's very much likely, but also it'd be really cool. But aside from game news, I definitely think we are going to get more anime news. Probably Season 3 announcement. I haven't been keeping up with the anime. Might be a new thing. Or we get an anime movie, because we haven't had one of those in a really long time. The last one we had was that one where it's like the I Choose You movie, where it's like the one with like Ho-Oh and the 2 new partners, and yeah, the one where Ash took Pikachu to a Pokemon Center. It's like, oh, Pikachu, who'd you fight this time? Oh, we fought Ho-Oh. Oh, that's nice. Wait a minute. Like that one? I think that one might have... Okay, actually, I lied. That's not the latest Pokemon movie, but regardless, it's been a while since we've actually had a Pokemon movie, and I do think that it is very much possible that with the new protagonist, we are going to get a brand new movie. Because, let's be honest, we weren't going to get a movie with Ash's departure being so soon. As much as I would have liked it, it was just logically, they're going to just build up the hype for the new protagonist. And realistically, something that could happen here, since Scarlet and Violet's being the center of VGC for next year's World Championships, I do think that, especially in line with potential leaks, we are going to get a new mythical event. Maybe even a new DLC, who knows? And that mythical could be the forefront of this new movie. So that kind of does line up, because we're going to have another whole year of Scarlet and Violet. No one's playing the game anymore. It's been out long enough. The DLC's been out for long enough. You kind of have everything you need to have for VGC. So I do think extra content is going to be added in wake of a brand new movie. I do think that is very much possible. I'm not crazy for thinking that. But yeah, I do think that we are going to what was it? I need to get away. I need to just collect my thoughts. Other than that, we're obviously going to have more merchandise reveals, which is, you know, always a given. But I don't think we're going to get anything Johto related, because that was kind of last Pokemon Presents. We got a lot of Johto representation. What the... Anyway, so, yeah, last year was a lot of Johto, even though we didn't actually get any Johto games. We got Gita and Neo Champion Silver. We had the Legendary Beasts for Sleep, like, that sort of thing. The unknown imagery. It was very Johto-coded, even though we didn't get anything Johto in terms of mainline games or remakes. But this year seems to be very Unova coded, so that's why I think that we're just gonna get Unova and ZA and maybe a couple other side projects, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I expect. Just to put it out in a very concise list. So it's gonna start out with the mobile games. It's gonna start with the mobile games. We all know that. It's gonna go to ZA because it's already been announced. They don't need to build it up or anything. They just need to reveal that they're showing more info. So I do think that would be the mid-time. After the mid-time, they'll have news on VGC, you know, the new California location that they revealed at EUIC. Which, by the way, congratulations, Wolfie. Absolute GOAT of the VGC community. I was actively popping off when I saw that he won, but that's beside the point. Then after that, they're gonna show some announcement, like some minor announcement, maybe the Synapse title, or maybe even a spin-off reveal. Show a small trailer for it. They're gonna say they're wrapping up information, but then there's one more thing to finish off the live stream, and I do think that is where they will reveal Unova. Realistically, that is my most down-to-earth, realistic expectation, is that it's just going to be a straight line of mobile games, ZA, extra projects, VGC news, and black and white remakes. I am not crazy for thinking that. I've already explained why I think the way I think. Personally, I didn't even think that Unova remakes were going to happen last year, just due to all the Johto imagery, so yeah, I'm way more sure than ever that that's going to be the timeline, but I'm open to being proven wrong in a positive way. I don't want anything less to be revealed, because honestly, if we just get ZA news and no black and white remake news, Game Freak would be absolutely criminal for doing that. So I think reasonably, I think that is what's going to happen. But that's pretty much my thoughts. I got my copes. I want a battle simulator, and I want a battle simulator, and I want a Pokemon Ranger game, or some sort of Pokemon Ranger content, and even Coliseum and XD. I would love it if they got something, like either games. I don't care if it's the character coming to Masters, like Wes or Michael, or if it were their games getting remakes, just like another outsourced remake. Like, genuinely, that would be so amazing, but that's kind of one of those things where it doesn't coincide with anything. It's kind of just up in the air no matter what year it is, so you kind of can't expect it. You can hope for it, you can cope for it, but unfortunately, XD, Gale of Darkness, and Pokemon Coliseum, as great of games they are, it's one of those things where it's like when Game Freak thinks about it, it feels like it, that's when it's going to happen, versus following consistent theming of the year between spin-offs and mainlines. So, yeah, this year is very much Unova coded, so I do not think that a Gen 5 game... Wait, was it? Is Coliseum and XD Gen 5? I'm pretty sure they were. Or no, not Gen 5, Gen 3? Pretty sure they were Gen 3. If I'm wrong, don't judge me. I haven't even played the games. I just really like the style of them. And I'd love to try them out myself. Just the games are freaking hard to get my hands on. But, yeah. And also, there could be... Okay, I actually completely forgot about this point, but there could very well be the addition of the Pokemon Works company. They could reveal what that's all about, like what they're going to focus on. Maybe that's where all the remakes come from, but who knows? I don't know. I have zero clues going on with this, because they had a joint company between, was it Ilka and Game Freak? Was it DNA and Game Freak? I forgot which and which, but it has to be something game related if either of them were the case. But yeah, that's generally my thoughts, hopes, and expectations. From completely realistic to completely unrealistic, that's what I think, and I cannot wait for the 27th, because I am genuinely excited. Last year we had no clue what could be revealed. It could have swayed either way from Johto to Unova, but then we got Kalos with a lot of Johto's like mobile spin-off game imagery. So now that we actually know about ZA, and now that we know about all the, like, the Unova-based things happening, yeah, it's gonna be ZA Unova stuff. That's about the most cohesive theming that I can come up with. So yeah. For those who stuck around for my rambling, thank you all for listening. Can't wait to see you guys on the 27th. I will be live streaming, but do beware that I will have family be in the house, so if something exciting happens, I'm gonna have to just do the type face. I can't really... I can't really scream as much as I'd like to if something really exciting happens, so if something exciting happens and my reaction just boils down to wide eyes, a couple, like, whimpers as I'm just sitting there paralyzed, so excited, like, unbelievable, like, what am I seeing? Then that's the whole reason why. I cannot be loud, but yeah. See you guys on the 27th. If you guys have any unrealistic or realistic expectations, do feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. I've been reading some of the expectations on Twitter. A lot of the time, they actually fall in line with what I said today, but I mean, hey, be as wild as you want with them. Sometimes you might be right. So, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.